Many people who adore dogs would be thrilled to have one unexpectedly show up at their doorstep. However, for this particular woman, a peculiar dog kept visiting her residence to take naps. Eventually, she fastened a startling message onto the dog's collar. Join us to discover what it revealed. Julie had a deep affection for animals and had future plans of owning a dog. However, given her recent home purchase and demanding work schedule, she opted to postpone the idea of getting a dog for the time being. Despite her decision to delay getting a dog, Julie still enjoyed petting all the other dogs in her neighborhood. The area where she lived was filled with beautiful trees and numerous parks where one could spend leisure time. Julie made a habit of taking long walks as frequently as her work permitted, and through this, she met many of her new neighbors. But honestly, she just went out to pet all the puppies, and she remembered the dogs a lot more than she did the people. It was a nice way of getting some exercise and fresh air at the same time. But Julie couldn't even get to do that as often as she would like to. Her commute was pretty long, and that made the hours that she worked a lot longer. She had this great home that she loved, but it felt like she was never at home to enjoy it. She wanted to change that. Julie had the type of career where she could easily do her job from anywhere. But at the time, there weren't that many businesses that actually allowed their workers to work remotely. We know now that it's surprisingly easy to get your work done from your house, thanks to a certain global event. But back then, it was more difficult to find a company that would allow it. It took a while, but eventually Julie found a new job that had better hours and an opportunity to work from home. Finally, she would be able to use the great home office that she had furnished in one of the rooms, and eventually she might even be able to have the time to get herself a dog of her own. But for now, she wanted to make sure that her job was stable first. Then something happened that would change everything. Julie had cameras on the front of her house that detected motion. And one day these cameras alerted her that she had a visitor. She checked to see who it was and was surprised when she didn't see any humans on the porch. Instead, she just saw a dog waiting patiently. He was sitting on the porch, checking out the world, just sitting there politely. Since she did have time for a break, she went out and opened her front door. The dog that sat there was beautiful. It was a golden retriever that seemed to be a slightly older dog. He had some gray hair on his face and looked very tired. But other than that, it was a sweet dog. In fact, a golden retriever was on Julie's list of favorite breeds. She had hoped that she could get her own eventually. The breed is known for being great with families and loyal. They are often found just leaning against their owners and are usually very friendly with strangers. And this dog lived up to the breed's reputation. He was incredibly sweet, but he didn't seem to want a lot of attention. He had come with another plan in mind. He walked past Julie into the house and straight to her office. There he went to lay down close to her chair. He fell asleep right away, but Goa felt bad that he was sleeping on the hard floor, so she put a pillow down for him. He gave a sigh and got up just to move to the pillow, and then he closed his eyes again and went right back to sleep. Julie left him in peace to take his nap while she worked. She wondered where he had come from. He did look slightly familiar, so she might have met him on one of her walks, but that meant that he could live pretty much anywhere in the neighborhood. She wasn't sure if he was lost or if she was going to have to help him find his home, but for now she did nothing. The dog slept about 2 hours and then he got up and stretched. He came over to Julie for her to pet him, and then he walked to the front door. There he waited for her to open the door for him, and when she did, he left just as quietly as he came. It was a strange experience, but one that Julie... Still, she expected that she would likely never see the golden retriever ever again. So imagine her shock when he came back the very next day. And once again, he just waited for her to open the door, and then he would go and lie down on the pillow she had set out for him. He slept for a few hours and then he was ready to leave again. Julie started waiting for the dog to arrive every day at roughly the same time. She even put out some water for him and bought him a bigger pillow to lie on. She also bought the dog a few toys to play with, but he didn't show any interest in them. He just wanted to take his nap, and then leave as soon as his nap was over. He didn't want to stick around to play. Julie was getting attached to the dog. But where the dog came from was still a massive mystery. He was clearly well cared for. His coat was shiny, and he wasn't thin at all. He even had a nice collar around his neck. but sadly it didn't have any contact details attached. He must have had a home somewhere. But where that home was anyone's guess. As time went on, she became more curious about the dog and wondered why he chose her home to nap in. It had gone on for a few weeks at that stage, and most days he would show up. Julie wanted answers, and the only way she could think of to get those answers was to add a note to his collar when he went home. She wanted to ask the owners who the dog was. She also wanted to know who the owners of the sweet dog were, but most importantly, she wanted to make sure that they knew he was coming to her house most afternoons to take a nap. She pinned the note to his collar the next time that he came for his nap and hoped that it made it home with him. The next day, she was very disappointed when the dog didn't have any reply on his collar. She wasn't sure why she expected to get an answer so soon, but she really felt protective of the dog. He was visiting her each day and she didn't even know his name. She wasn't sure why he needed to go to another house just to get some rest and hope that it didn't mean he had a bad home. He was cared for, so it didn't look like this was a likely scenario, but you never knew. She just wanted to know where he came from. That was why she was incredibly excited when he got to her house one day and he had a note on his collar. It had all of the answers that she had been looking for, but those answers were really not what she expected at all. She was shocked by what she learned. The note explained everything. It explained that the dog's name was Brody, but there was a very good reason why he always seemed so exhausted. The note said that he lived in a house with 6 children and that 2 of those kids were under the age of 3. So he was really tired and just wanted to catch up on his sleep. The idea was logical enough. The dog simply sought refuge in a calm and peaceful environment away from its family, so it could relax and rejuvenate. The accompanying note contained a humorous request, as the owner asked if Julie could join Brody the following day for a nap. While clearly a jest, the request held some truth since the dog's owners had 6 children at home and could probably use some rest. Brody continued to visit Julie's home for naps, and even after she got her own puppy, she made sure to not disturb Brody while he rested. We hope you enjoyed watching this video. Kindly give us a thumbs up and share it with your loved ones. Thank you for your support.